Aku loves Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 has gone down in history as many people's favorite video game of all time, and for me, it's definitely in my top 20. The first time I ever played this game was back when I was 13 years old. I think it's safe to say that while this game definitely has a creepy factor to it, this is what allowed me to grow and not be scared of scary imagery anymore. That and watching The Grudge alone in the middle of the night. I never claimed it was a good idea. Anyway, my experience hearing about this game goes like this. Half a year after its release, one of my best friends, Joe, rented GameCube games a lot. Like, every week. One of those weeks, he bought Resident Evil 4 and he brought it over. I didn't know what Resident Evil was, and wouldn't you believe it, my ignorant ass saw him playing the game and I was like, it doesn't look that good. The controls are kinda crappy too. I'm not that into it. Remember what I said in the last episode? You'll see that's gonna be a pretty big trend in my gaming history. I've always been an ignorant little piece of Anyway! Yeah, your boy Aku was hella ignorant and that train didn't stop till I was in college, so I've got more stories for later, don't you worry. So after I told Joe I wasn't into the game, we just moved on to something else. But sometime later, over Christmas break, something got into me. Something urged me to ask him, hey dude, can I borrow Resident Evil 4? And of course, Joe is one of the nicest guys ever, and he let me borrow the game. Now, spoilers. I borrowed the game for like half a damn year. I got so into the game. I remember starting the first area thinking, okay, yeah, gotta get used to these weird ass controls, and you know what? I did. Yeah, it felt weird to have to hold a button just to ready the knife instead of just having a button to do the knife action, but I didn't understand the complexities of game design back then. If they made it that easy, the game wouldn't have that same slowish pace. But don't be fooled, the game can actually have a fast pace once you know what you're doing, which leads me to bring up some behind the scenes information. The other week, there was a sale on all the Resident Evil games and I scooped up 4 and 5. Co-op with my best friend in the future? Oh hell yeah. Anyway, I recently played Resident Evil 4 a week before I recorded footage for it. But that kinda works in my favor because you see, I'm pretty sure this game popularized the concept of a thing called New Game Plus. In case you don't know, New Game Plus is when you beat a game and it usually lets you keep all your weapons and ammo that you got in your first playthrough. And if you played Resident Evil 4, then you know why I had this game for half a year. So that being said, why do I like this game? Well, for starters, it's got a great setting. You are Leon S. Kennedy, and your mission is to find the president's daughter. Ashley. We'll get to that idiot later. The game takes place in a rural part of Spain, and you navigate through a village, a castle, and eventually some kind of military research base area. It's a pretty wild ride, as around every corner there's some crazy thing ready to take Leon out.
You are a long way from home, cowboy.
Oh, and there's dogs, just like in every Resident Evil game. The dogs. But hey, it's not all bad, cause as you progress through the game, you'll get lots of different weapons, and in some sick, twisted way, it's a joy organizing Leon's suitcase. It's just one of those extra layers of stuff that the game adds in, and it really adds to the overall experience. There are so many memorable moments that I have with this game, like the chainsaw guy. He's really tough, and before you upgrade your weapons, oh yeah, I guess I should mention that. You can upgrade your weapons, and it's just awesome. You really feel like the guns get stronger as you progress through the game. And on that note, aiming was way more different than anything else at the time. It's almost kind of like playing an arcade game. Going back to the guns, my personal favorite is the riot gun, but I gotta give a special shout out to the TMP. Why? Well, when I was young and I first played this game, I had never really used the TMP and I just stocked up on ammo for it, and I kinda just thought about selling it because it wasn't all that cool to use. There's that stupidity I keep talking about. At first, this thing is a weak piece of garbage, but near the end of the game, you fight so many enemies and I had run out of ammo for everything else. So obviously, as a last resort, the TMP saved my life. It was such an awesome memory that I actually felt shocked that I essentially made fun of the gun the whole game. Never judge anything till you experience it firsthand, kids. Another great memory I have with Resident Evil 4 is getting the infinite rocket launcher. Now normally you can find a rocket launcher at a certain point in the game, or if you have enough money, you can buy one. But the thing is, it can only be used once. But you can unlock the ability to purchase the infinite rocket launcher after you beat the game.
Stranger, stranger. Now that's a weapon.
As the name implies, you have access to an unlimited number of rockets at your disposal. It can even take out some of the bosses in one hit. But for the sake of interesting footage, I held back and just used my normal weapons. There are so many things I remember about this game. The big salamander fish thing that you fight at the lake, or the doggo pupper wolf that you save right at the beginning that later helps you fight the El Gigante. Did I mention the El Gigante? This guy was quite a shock back in the day just because he was so huge. Well, I guess it's time to mention Ashley. Ashley. She's really just a pain in the ass, and the first time through, you'll have her die on you a few times. And it's really just annoying because you don't have that much control of her, and it's really just the frustration of something that's out of your control that makes her annoying. Oh, and this cutscene too.
You alright?
I'm fine! Leave me alone!
Ashley, wait!
Ashley, you idiot, stop!
Ashley!
What's going on?
Don't worry, Ashley. I'm coming for you.
Oh, and I can't go on without mentioning one part in particular, the knife fight with Krauser. Krauser is some guy that Leon knows, but the story means jack shit in Resident Evil games. So anyway, Krauser is working for the boss of the game, Sadler, and along the way, they get into the sickest knife fight ever. At least back in the day, it was pretty awesome. So awesome to the point that other classmates of mine would actually talk about it a lot, and we used to compare how many times we died during the cutscene. Me personally, it took me about 14 times to get past this part. Yeah, by the way, this game is probably what popularized QuickTime events in video games. They aren't impossible or all that annoying to me. As long as the action is cool, I don't really mind. Truth be told, I think they're done best in God of War 3. Yeah, I'll make a video on that game one day too. Oh, you hear that? That disturbing, heart-wrenching sound? The sound that strikes fear into the hearts of millions who played this game. That, my friends, is a regenerator. The regenerator is probably my favorite enemy in the entire game. Possibly in the entire series. These guys were some of the most horrifying video game enemies, and for good reason. Imagine a wall closing in on you, and no matter how much you push, it doesn't stop. That's what it felt like to fight these guys. Regenerators have a trick to them though. The first time you meet one, you have to blast the shit out of it and use up a lot of ammo. Naturally, this leaves you feeling on edge, which is just so brilliant. Then you eventually get a scope for your sniper rifle, which lets you see the parasites inside. Kill them all and then you get a satisfying pop. Aside from knowing how to kill them, if you just shoot at the limbs, just like their name says, they will regenerate. If you shoot at their legs, they'll fall over, but that won't stop them from jumping at your face. It's such a freaky enemy, but an awesome one. Now we're getting at the end of my video, but I absolutely cannot go on without mentioning one of my favorite things about this game. Mercenaries is an extra mode that lets you play as Leon in 4 stages of your choosing, and you get to unlock other characters if you get enough stars. Aw man, I remember this mode being so awesome. It's really the reason I kept playing for so long after I beat the main game 3 times. I remember even unlocking Krauser and using his badass bow and arrows. Aw man, it was so fun. Let's see some footage of that right now. Alright, mercenaries, here we go. Yeah, it's not so bad as Leon. A couple of other characters were harder to use, but Krauser was the goal. Whoa, I don't remember double chainsaws. Okay, let's try this again. Alright, one more time. Come on. Come on! Oh, what the fuck? That's it. F this game. Jokes aside, and my lack of patience for getting good at mercenaries again, Resident Evil 4 is one of my most memorable gaming experiences. Simply put, it's fun to play and kept me entertained for a really long time. And that is why I love Resident Evil 4.